The village of Oke-Odo had always been blessed with fertile lands, its people thriving on the bounty of the earth. But the season had turned cruel, and their fields that were once filled with farm produce now stood barren under the scorching sun. The yam vines had withered, the millet fields lay dried up, and the villagers whispered in fear of famine. Elders gathered under the great iroko tree, their voice heavy with sorrow and distress. Among them stood Adewale, a young farmer known for his diligence and kind heart. He squeezed his fist as he listened to the worried murmurs. Something had to be done, or their village would not survive. The elders spoke of sacrifices, of pleading with the gods, but no one knew the cause of the misfortune. It was then that the village chief, Baba Konji, raised his staff and spoke. We must seek the wisdom of Orisha-Oko, the god of agriculture and fertility. Only he can reveal the path to salvation. The shrine of the different gods worshipped in Oke-Odo are at the later end of the village, but that of Orisha-Oko priestess especially is down in the forest. One must go for us and seek the face of the gods, and that of the Orisha-Oko, the god of agriculture and fertility specially, said Baba Konji. Adewale volunteered without hesitation. The journey to the sacred forest of Orisha-Oko was dangerous, but if there was a chance to save his people, he would take it. His mother, Iya Morayo, wept as she blessed him for the journey, pressing a small cowrie shell into his palm for luck, and a small bag carrying some dry yam for the journey. After 3 days of travel, Adewale reached the forest where Orisha-Oko's shrine lay hidden beneath the ancient baobab trees. Standing was a priestess of the gods called Orisha-Oko. Part of her face was covered in white clothes. Unprovoked, she said to Adewale, "You seek answers, but knowledge comes at a cost." Adewale was confused about what to say or how to act. He stood without uttering a word. His heart wanted to talk, but his tongue didn't know what to say. Orisha-Oko has spoken. 3 trials await you, one of bravery, one of wisdom, and one of kindness. Only by passing them all will your village be saved. Adewale's heart pounded. He had come seeking guidance, and now he was bound to a fate beyond his understanding. Without hesitation, the trial begins. The priestess led Adewale deeper into the sacred forest, a woodland where a narrow path within the tall trees. Your first trial will test your bravery, she whispered. Ahead lies the cave of the silent beast. No man has entered and returned to tell the tale. Inside, you must retrieve the golden feather from the beast's nest. Adewale swallowed hard, because the tales of the silent beast had been whispered among villagers for generations. The silent beast is a creature of darkness and death. But he braced himself, knowing this was the path he had chosen to save his village. With a deep breath, he stepped onto the path. Walking through the thick forest, Adewale was being brave, but also dreadful silence of the forest made his heart beat faster than his leg could walk. As he neared the cave, the air around him grew heavy, with an unnatural calmness, as if the wind had stopped to blow and the tall trees had their leaves frozen. Everything looked strange, and suddenly shadows started moving along the cave walls, and Adewale could hear the slow rhythmic breathing of something massive within. He sluggishly took one step forward. His hand tightened around the cowrie shell his mother had given him. Whatever lay ahead, he could not turn back now. It is too late to be fearful and run back. Adewale was ready to face whatever happened at this point. The moment Adewale crossed the threshold of the cave, he heard barking as if a wild dog was lying within darkness to tear him apart. The silence of the forest disappeared as two glowing eyes blinked open. At this point, Adewale knew that the silent beast had awakened. Adewale's breathing got even faster. He could feel his heart through his clothes as he forced himself to move forward. He carried his footsteps carefully against the floor. He was mindful of the stones on the floor so he would not mistakenly step and fall. At this point, the massive beast shifted. His skin is as dark as midnight, and his claws are as sharp as the edge of an arrow. The beast's eyes were dreadful as it looked at Adewale, deciding whether it was prey to be torn into pieces or something more. Strengthening his nerves to relax and not to act irrationally, Adewale scanned the cave for the golden feather that the priestess said he must bring. His heart pounded as he spotted it. The golden feather was shining on top of a nest filled with bones and dried leaves. The problem is that it is sitting right behind the beast. Just as you would think, the question on Adewale's mind was how to retrieve it. But the first problem was how he would get past the creature. Drawing courage from the cowrie shell in his hand, he took another step. The beast readjusted and was ready to attack. Time was running out. If he was to succeed, he would need to act swiftly and wisely. Adewale exhaled slowly, focusing on the beast's movement. He had faced wild animals before, but this was different. This creature was something beyond any animal he had ever seen. He reached for a stone on the ground, weighing it in his palm before throwing it forward towards the cave's wall, close to where the silent beast sat, to create a diversion. He threw it with all his strength. The impact echoed through the cave, and for a moment, the beast's glowing eyes flashed towards the sound. Seizing the opportunity, Adewale skipped forward, his bare feet barely making a sound against the cave's floor. He reached the nest and grabbed the golden feather. The surface was warm as if the feather had life and could breathe. A triumphant smile was written on his face, but the moment was short-lived. A loud roar filled the cave as the beast realized the deception. It pounced, claws slashing through the air, missing Adewale by inches. Adewale rolled to the side, squeezing the feather tightly to his chest. There was no time to hesitate. He rushed for the exit. The beast's heavy foot claws shaking the ground behind him. The cave entrance was near, but the beast was faster. With a desperate leap, Adewale jumped forward just as the creature swiped at his back, leaving him with a sharp wound. He fell out into the daylight, gasping as the cave trembled and collapsed behind him. He lay on the ground, panting, his body aching from the narrow escape. In his hand, the golden feather glowed. This is proof of his bravery. He had passed the first trial, but two more remained. and the path ahead will not be any easier. With the golden feather secured, Adewale returned to the sacred forest where the priestess awaited him. She looked and studied the feather in his hand and nodded. "You have shown great courage, Adewale, but bravery alone will not save your people. Now you must prove your wisdom." She gestured to a new path, this one leading through an overgrown forest shrouded in mist. Beyond this path lies the pool of reflections. Within its waters, you will face a test of knowledge. But beware, for many who stare into the pool see only what they wish, not what is true. Adewale felt a chill run down his spine, but did not hesitate. He stepped forward, vanishing into the mist, his next trial awaiting him in the unknown. The mist curved around Adewale as he launched deeper into the forest, which was covered with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird songs. Soon, he reached a small portion of land, different and unique compared to the other part of the forest. He saw a still pool between ancient trees. Its surface was like polished glass, reflecting the sky above with unsettling clarity. He knelt by the water, peering into its depths. A moment later, his own reflection shifted, his face distorted, his features deforming and bending into unfamiliar shapes. Then, images flashed across the pool's surface. His village, his mother, and his people suffering from hunger. The vision hurt him deeply. He was pained, but he did not look away. A voice echoed from the pool. "What is an illusion? To find wisdom, you must see beyond your desires and pursuits, which are mostly rooted in illusions." Adewale's heart pounded. If he was to pass this trial, he needed to design what was real at this pool, not to be deceived by the illusions. Taking a deep breath, he prepared himself for whatever truth the pool would reveal. The images on the pool's surface shifted, revealing moments from Adewale's past, his childhood, his struggles, his mother's sacrifices. He saw himself as a boy, running through the fields, carefree and hopeful. Then the vision darkened, showing moments he had long buried, his failures, his doubts, his fears. Tears gathered around his eyes. He realized that wisdom was not about seeing what he always wanted, but accepting the truth, even when it was painful. Adewale did not push away these images and refer to them as mere illusions. Rather, he accepted the failures of his past. He took responsibility to be a better man, rather than singing the song of excuses like many men of his age. He reached out, touching the surface of the glassy magical pool. After this, a deep clarity washed over him. He understood now that the true wisdom is in understanding who we are and taking responsibility for who we can become, not living in illusions and shifting blame to others through countless excuses. The mist lifted and the path forward became clearer. Adewale had passed the second trial. Now, with the pool of reflections behind him, Adewale made his way back to the forest to meet the priestess, getting ready for the last trial that was looming ahead. The priestess awaited him once more, her expression unreadable. "You have shown both bravery and wisdom, Adewale, but now comes your final trial, the test of kindness. Many seek power and riches, but true strength lies in compassion. Only by showing kindness in the face of adversity can you save your people." She moved forward, pointing to a distant part of the forest where a large stone stood at the center, surrounded by bushes and grasses with thorns and pricks. "Here lies the heart of your trial. There is a creature ahead, within the thorns and pricks, that you must help. You must offer it kindness even when it shows you nothing but hostility." Adewale's mind raced. He had faced beasts, dangers, and the darkness of his own soul. But this was different. Could he show kindness to something that may wish him harm? As Adewale ventured into the forest, the air thickened with tension. He heard some loud, angry noise like that of a leopard that wants to harm. At one moment, it sounded like that of a lion, then like a wild dog. The different sounds coming from this creature made Adewale more fearful. Suddenly, a creature stepped into view. It looked like a wild, snarling boar. Its eyes bloodshot and teeth bared. A boar does not sound like this, making Adewale more confused. The boar-looking creature charged at him, teeth glowing like daggers, moving forward slowly and ready to attack. But Adewale hesitated. He thought of his village, his people, who had always shown kindness even in the toughest of times. He thought of his mother, whose love had never wavered, even in hardship. Perhaps he thought the boy too was suffering, driven by hunger, anger, and pain. If he could offer kindness, perhaps he could heal more than just his village. Stepping forward, Adewale held out his hand, lowering himself to one knee. The strange-looking boy halted, sniffing the air cautiously. His voice was soft as he spoke. "I know you are in pain, but hurting others won't ease it. Let me help you." To Adewale's surprise, the boy stopped his snarling and roaring. His eyes softened like a playful pet as it seemed to recognize Adewale's sincerity. Slowly, Adewale reached into his pouch and offered the boy a handful of the dried yam he had carried with him. The beast hesitated, then took the offering, his anger reducing. At that moment, Adewale knew he had passed the third trial. Adewale returned to the sacred forest, his heart light with relief. The priestess stood waiting for him, her eyes filled with quiet pride. "You have completed the trials, Adewale. Your bravery, wisdom, and kindness, even in the face of death, have proven you worthy. Now you may return to your village, where the lands will be restored." As he made his way back to Oke-Odo, a journey of 3 days, but his tiredness and wound at his back made it a 4-day journey. As Adewale neared his village, the world around him seemed to come alive once more. The once barren fields began to bloom, the yam plants sprouting upward, and the millet have started to grow again. By the time Adewale reached his village, he was greeted with cheers and laughter. The famine had been lifted because rain poured on the land 2 days after Adewale passed all his trials. The crops have started to return gradually, and the people rejoiced. Baba Akanji, the village chief, stepped forward, placing a hand on Adewale's shoulder after he narrated his ordeal. "You have saved us, young Adewale," he said. "Your strength of heart, your wisdom, and your compassion have brought prosperity back to us all." Adewale smiled, knowing that it was not just his actions but the kindness he had learned to show that had truly saved his people. The story of Adewale's journey spread far and wide, and his people remember the trials of Orisha Oko as a reminder that true strength lies not in power or wealth, but in courage, wisdom, and compassion. Adewale's tale became one told around fires and in villages across the land, a story of how the simplest virtues could change the world. Adewale's trials taught him that in the face of hardship, the greatest gift we can offer is our heart, our willingness to help others, learn and show courage, not just for ourselves, but for the good of all. The village of Oke-Odo flourished once more, not just in crops, but in spirit, as they lived by the lessons of the trials that have saved them all. Thank you for watching today's folktale. If you enjoyed this folktale and want to hear more captivating stories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss any episode. Kindly share your favorite lesson from today's video in the comment below. For more thrilling stories and adventures, click to watch other of our videos or check out the full playlist on our channel. See you in the next story. Thank you.